In this video, I'm sharing my terrifying and personal story about an evil twin who remained invisible, but had a sinister influence on my life. Prepare yourself for a chilling account of horror and struggle as I reveal the full, unnerving experience. Watch to uncover the horrifying truth and the journey I went through to free myself from this malevolent. I had always lived a relatively normal life until the day I realized that something was terribly wrong. It began with subtle signs things out of place, a chill in the air, and a feeling of being watched. But what I didn't know was that these signs were only the beginning of a much darker reality. It all started on an ordinary evening. I was sitting in my living room, the quiet hum of the city outside my window, when I noticed something peculiar. My reflection in the mirror seemed off, as though there was a shadow lurking behind me that wasn't quite right. I brushed it off as fatigue, but the feeling persisted. As days passed, the disturbances grew more frequent and intense. I would hear whispers in the dead of night, voices that seemed to come from nowhere. Objects would move on their own, and I would often find myself unable to shake the feeling of being followed. I couldn't understand why this was happening to me, and it wasn't until I sought help that I learned the truth. I had a malevolent twin presence that was invisible yet deeply entwined with my own life. This twin, I discovered, had a sinister influence over me. It fed on my fears and anxieties, amplifying them to the point of madness. I would wake up in cold sweats, my dreams plagued by nightmarish visions. The worst part was that no one could see or feel what I was experiencing. To the outside world, I was just a person going through a rough patch, but inside, I was battling an unseen enemy. I sought out various methods to confront this entity. I visited therapists, spiritualists, and even paranormal investigators, but nothing seemed to work. Each attempt to rid myself of this presence only seemed to make it stronger. The attacks became more violent, and I found myself spiraling into despair. Eventually, I realized that the only way to confront this twin was to understand its origins. I delved into my family history, uncovering dark secrets that had long been buried. It seemed that this malevolent presence had been a part of my family for generations, a curse passed down through bloodlines. In my search for a solution, I discovered an ancient ritual that required not only courage, but also a deep understanding of my own fears. I had to confront the essence of my twin, face it in a realm beyond the physical, and find a way to sever the connection that bound it to me. The ritual was intense and terrifying. I was forced to confront my deepest fears and darkest memories, all while battling this relentless entity. It was a harrowing experience, but in the end, I managed to break the connection. The twin was no longer able to influence my life, and I could finally begin to heal. Looking back, I realized how close I came to losing myself completely. The experience changed me forever, but it also gave me a new perspective on strength and resilience. I hope that sharing my story will help others who may be facing similar struggles, reminding them that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. As I settled into a semblance of normalcy after the ritual, I hoped that the worst was behind me. However, the aftermath of confronting the malevolent twin left its mark on my life in ways I hadn't anticipated. The relief of finally being free from its grasp was bittersweet. The experience had altered my perception of reality and left me with lingering scars. I had to rebuild my life from the ground up, and every corner of my home seemed to carry the weight of my past torment. I struggled to reconnect with friends and family who had witnessed my descent into paranoia and despair. Despite the ritual's success, I was haunted by fragmented memories of the entity's presence. At times, I would catch myself glancing over my shoulder, expecting to see something or someone lurking in the shadows. The fear of relapse was a constant companion, a reminder of the fragility of the peace I had fought so hard to achieve. In an effort to regain control over my life, I began documenting my experiences in detail. Writing became a therapeutic outlet, allowing me to process the trauma and make sense of the chaos that had enveloped me. As I wrote, I found that sharing my story provided a form of closure, an opportunity to confront and make peace with the darkness that had once consumed me. Through this process, I also sought to help others who might find themselves in similar situations. I connected with support groups and individuals who had experienced their own battles with unseen forces. Sharing my story with them, I found solace in knowing that I was not alone and that my experiences could offer hope and guidance to others struggling with their own fears. As time went on, I began to notice that the shadows of my past were gradually receding. The anxiety that once gripped me was replaced by a newfound strength and resilience. My life slowly returned to a semblance of normality, though it was forever altered by the events I had endured. In the end, I learned that facing one's deepest fears and confronting the unknown requires immense courage. It taught me that even when the darkness seems overwhelming, there is always a path to light. The battle against my malevolent twin was not just a fight for survival, but a journey towards understanding and self-discovery. I now look at my past with a mixture of respect and detachment. The memories of those dark days serve as a reminder of what I have overcome and how far I have come. My hope is that my story will continue to resonate with those who face their own struggles, offering them a glimmer of hope and the reassurance that they, too, can find their way through the darkness. As I move forward, I carry with me the lessons learned from that harrowing experience. I have embraced the peace I fought so hard to achieve and continue to live with a renewed appreciation for the strength that lies within us all.